So quick question, who do you believe? Donald Trump says talks with Iran have been very productive, and Iran says there are no talks at all. So at this point, it almost feels like you're watching some kind of political theater. A few days ago, Trump suddenly said that the US would pause strikes on Iran's energy infrastructure for 5 days because he said negotiations were making serious progress. And he went into quite a bit of detail. He said his envoy was involved, that discussions were deep, and even hinted that some kind of agreement framework was already in place. So it sounded pretty concrete. And then almost immediately, Iran came out and said none of that happened. No direct talks, no indirect talks, nothing. So now you're just sitting there like, okay, so what actually happened? It's two completely different realities. One saying we are close to a deal, and the other saying there's no deal to begin with. And the timing of all this is very specific. Trump's earlier warning that 48-hour ultimatum came after the US market had already closed on Friday. And the good news came right before they opened. So you could see the reaction almost immediately. Stocks went up, oil prices dropped, then Iran denied it, and the market pulled back again. So within less than an hour, you had billions, actually trillions, moving in and out based on words, not actions, words. And that's the part I've been thinking about, because whether or not there were actual talks almost becomes secondary. What matters is that something was said and it moved things. Now, to be fair, there were likely some contacts, because there are reports that countries like Turkey, Egypt, Pakistan have been passing messages back and forth. So yes, there is communication, just not necessarily the kind Trump is describing. More like messages being relayed, third parties trying to keep things from escalating, which technically isn't the same as we are negotiating, but it can sound like it depending on how you frame it. And Trump is very good at telling that kind of story, right? Because from his perspective, there's also pressure building at home. Oil prices go up, gas prices go up, people feel it, markets react, and very quickly that turns into a political problem. So you can kind of see the incentive. He needs something to calm things down, even if it's just the perception that progress is being made. And that's where it gets a bit tricky, because now you're not just watching events unfold, you're also watching how it's being said. And those two don't always line up. Anyway, I'm not even going to try to answer who's telling the truth here, but the fact that words alone can move things this fast, that is worth paying attention to.